Now, one of the things that I have learned about Hillary Clinton is that one of her heroes, her mentors, was Saul Alinsky. And her senior thesis was about Saul Alinsky. This was someone that she greatly admired and that affected all of her philosophies subsequently. Now, interestingly enough, let me tell you something about Saul Alinsky. He wrote a book called Rules for Radicals. On the dedication page, it acknowledges Lucifer, the original radical who gained his own kingdom. Now, think about that. This is a nation where our founding document, the Declaration of Independence, talks about certain inalienable rights that come from our Creator. So are we willing to elect someone as president who has as their role model somebody who acknowledges Lucifer? Think about that.
His name is Saul Alinsky, and there are still many to whom the name is meaningless. But to millions now, he is looked on as a savior. And these are the so-called have-nots, the culturally deprived, the abject poor. They love him, and they ask him in to organize their weakness into a strength and power that has become a frightening threat to the establishment.
There is, I suppose, given a choice, I think I would pick hell. The reason I'd pick hell is because that's where all the have-nots are.
He is disarmingly mild when you meet him. But there is an implacable ferocity about him which is directed at many forces he considers to be at the root of human suffering and misery.
I'm all for it. I think our Air Force and our Army should, after they finish in Vietnam, should come back and bomb the hell out of Mississippi, you know? What would it be? Southern Mississippi instead of northern Mississippi. So we can all get freedom and equality down there, too. I'll probably get knocked off. I think with all this notoriety and all this stuff that goes up, that there's always some kooky crackpot who will say, you know, I'll get national headlines if I knock him off, which he will, you know.
This, then, is an opening frame that we put around the self-portrait of one of the most controversial figures in today's gallery of American radicals. On this KPIX report, Saul Alinsky will share with you his searching, personal assessment of himself, as he did with us in this exclusive half-hour titled, I'd Organize Hell. My name is Jack Bunzel. We'll journey to Carmel, California to meet Saul Alinsky in just a few moments.
There is no nice way of getting things changed. And it's time that a good part of our country began to wake up and live in the world as it is, rather than the world as we would like it to be.
Saul Alinsky has become a national byword synonymous with poverty. He is the severest critic of the so-called establishment and its handling or mishandling of enormous sums of money intended to alleviate the misery of the poor. Alinsky is executive director of the Industrial Areas Foundation.
Saul Alinsky has been called a Jewish atheist, which he vigorously denies, even though he admits his religious convictions are unconventional. There is a certain fatalism in his almost contemptuous attitude to the threats that continue to be made on his life. What he has to say now, however, is underscored by his awareness that change is a law of life, and that the social consequences will be felt by all of us. Wherever Saul Alinsky goes, and he has helped organize more than 2 million people in 44 communities over the last 30 years, he digs into what he calls a morass of resignation, hopelessness, and despair. Providing tactical advice and technical consultation, he works with the local people in, as he puts it, rubbing raw their resentments and agitating to the point of conflict. But in this personal assessment of himself, Alinsky also reflected on other themes. Saul Alinsky has a lot of opponents. Certain church groups support him, others attack him, claiming his organization incites class and racial antagonisms. Responsible men accuse him of erecting a power-structured dictatorship based on slum dwellers. Julian Levy of the University of Chicago accuses him of emulating the techniques of lynch mobs. The so-called establishment Alinsky attacks represents chosen city, state, and federal government officials and agencies, including the Office of Economic Opportunity. No assessment of this professional and self-styled radical would be complete without recognizing the great and respected forces that oppose everything Alinsky stands for.
Saul Alinsky is a symbol, and perhaps a byproduct of our times, which are characterized by forms of revolt against many established concepts. While this man is certainly a dramatic protagonist on the stage of American drama, only history can adequately assess whether or not he is as significant as he might appear to millions. In presenting this glimpse of Saul Alinsky, titled "I'd Organize Hell," we have had a meeting with a man who has already rocked the boat on at least one of our Bay Area community fronts, and may figure prominently in others. KPIX reports, Saul Alinsky.
Why so heavy-handed trying to tie Hillary Clinton to Lucifer?
Well, first of all, recognize that this is a very famous book, Rules for Radicals. And on the dedication page, you acknowledge Lucifer in an admirable way,
Right.
saying that he's the original radical who gained his own kingdom.
Right.
And then if you read the book, I don't know if you've ever read it.
Right. What I did was I read the studies of the book just to figure out where you were going with this. But
Right.
please continue.
But please read the book because it's very interesting how it uses controlled anarchy
Right.
in order to change us from a democratic republic to a socialist society.
Right.
And I don't think that those things are consistent with the principles and the basis of this nation.